Hi there, Stampers. This is Lisa with Queen Bee Creations. I'm here today to show you a super cute little card today that actually has a moving truck. It slides back and forth by way of magnets, and so I was going to show you today how we do that. It's fairly simple with the pieces. All we needed was a card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then one layer for the outside, and that's going to be 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then this little piece is 3/4 inch by 4 inch, and then a piece to stamp our truck on. I thank you for joining me today. You're going to love our little card. For today's card, I am using the Ride With Me stamp set, and I'm also going to use the tree out of the Winter Woods. Now you can use any background you want on this, and you can actually use a different object. The technique's going to be the same, whether it was a sleigh going through the snow or a truck going through the forest. You know, the ideas are endless, but once you get this down, you're going to love it. I did purchase some little tiny magnets online, and I will show you where I got them from, but they're teeny and they're nice and lightweight. And so they don't add any weight to my card, which I really like. We're going to start out by stamping our truck, and I'm going to go ahead and do that in Memento onto Cherry Cobbler. The other one's done in Real Red, but this just happened to be the scrap I had handy. And then I like to have the window cut out. And so for that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. And this is just fun foam under here, but the idea is I don't care that if it gets damaged. A self-healing mat would probably be perfect. But I'm just giving very light pressure, and I'm going around the inside of our window and getting it to pop out. So there's our window. And then for that window, I want it to look like it's glass. So I've got a little teeny piece of acetate here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue this to the back. And I'm doing that now because right now there's a lot of excess room around there. But once I cut out the truck, it's not going to have quite as much room. So I'm going to just go ahead and tape around the hole of the window, just using some tear and tape. I'm going to make sure this is good and attached. And then I'm going to peel it off. And then I'm just going to place my little piece of acetate covering the hole. Now it's still going to be sticky, like around the outside. So I'm just going to take my embossing buddy, and I'm just going to give it some embossing buddy powder. And now it's no longer sticky. You could also, if you wanted to, use your adhesive remover and pull off the excess, but I didn't find that it was necessary. But now I can come back and cut out my truck. Now there is a die that comes with this bundle, but the die actually cuts out a 3D truck. And I don't know if you've been on Pinterest, but oh my gosh, people have come up with such creative ideas. There's a UPS truck, there's a mail truck, there's an ice cream truck, there's construction worker vehicles. I mean, it's amazing the stuff people are coming up with using the little die for the truck. You know, at first a lot of us looked at it and thought, oh my gosh, what would you do with that? And why would you need a 3D, truck? But the ideas are amazing. So lots of people have good ideas for that 3D truck. And it would even look cute on, on the mantle for Christmas, a little red truck. That seems to be a trend lately. Now it's getting a little harder to cut here because now I'm actually cutting through the acetate that's hanging over the edge, and that's fine. So there's our truck. And so right away, I'm going to put the magnet on the back because I want it to have time to dry. So it will be drying while we mess with the rest of the card. So I'm just going to flip it over, and I'm going to put a little bit of our liquid glue in the center. And then I'm just going to set one of the magnets down in the middle. So we'll let that dry. And then we're going to come in and we're going to do this background. And it looks like it's a couple different colored trees, but it's not. It's just the one color. I'm using Shaded Spruce, which is the same color as our card base. And like I said, I'm using the tree from the Winter Woods, but it could be any tree that you wanted or any background that you wanted. But in order to get the two different colors, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp once and then lift, switch it over, change up the height a little bit, and stamp a second time. So this is a second generation is what we call it. It's stamping off. If you were doing it onto scrap paper, you would fully ink the stamp it on scrap paper, and then go to the card. That's called stamped off. This is second generation. Very similar. So we'll do that again. And then I'm going to add one more on the edge. So there's just a tree background. Now, if we wanted to, we could, add some gravel in the front, or, you could dress it up if you wanted. I was trying to keep it simple just to show you the technique that we're doing. On the back of this, now I stamped first, then on the back, I'm going to make a little area where the second magnet is going to go. And here it is. I have a little template that I made for myself where I want to come in about 1.5 inches, because that's how much of the truck would be. If I pull it all the way this way, it doesn't go off the edge. And if I pull it all the way this way, the bed of the truck doesn't go off the edge. I mean, you could have it go all the way across if you wanted. I just chose to try to keep it on the card front. It's up to you. So I'm just going to come in and take a ruler, and on the back it won't matter because it's going to be glued to the card, so we can mark on it. Like I said, I'm just giving myself guides, because then what I'm going to do is come in with our foam strips. If you don't have our foam strips and you still want to do this, one of the things you can do is take the edges off of your regular Stampin' Dimensionals, and you can use those as foam strips. Okay, now I'm going to cut this one down a little so it butts up to that one. So here's the little groove where my second magnet's going to go. And then I'm going to take a small scrap of paper and I'm going to hold it in place. Now, if this was attached to the card base, that would hold it in place, but I need to be able to flip it. I need to be able to take and turn it to adhere it to our card base. And so this just makes sure it doesn't fall out of its little well while we're assembling our card. Now, if you're using foam strips, you want to stay using foam strips all the way around. If you're using dimensionals, you want to use the dimensionals all the way around. For some odd reason, they're a little bit different height, and so they won't be flush if you mix the two of them together. So I'm just going to place this on the front of our card. And we're going to come back. I've got my little magnet here. And I don't know, you probably can't hear it, but it kind of clicks. Once it finds where the magnet is, it kind of snapped into place so that it connects. And that's what helps move it back and forth. Now, in order to pull it back and forth, I put a little flag off the back of the truck, and that's our sentiment. And so that's another sentiment out of the same Ride With Me bundle. And then you could come in with your triple banner punch and do the end of it, or you can just flag it with snips. If you want to flag it with snips, all you have to do is kind of find the center, which is why I love this ruler, and make a little bitty dot. And then you're going to come in from the side and you're going to snip to the center and snip to the center. And that flags it for you. Of course, the triple banner punch makes it even easier, but I did want to show you an alternate way. And then we're going to hook it to the back of the truck. I'm going to use some glue dots, or you could use tear and tape, but you want something strong. I would not use snail because this is going to get a lot of movement, and we want something that's going to be very secure. So we'll just have that come off the end. Now to color up the truck, I used the Stampin' Blends for the wheels, or the tires actually. So I'm just coming in with the black Stampin' Blend and just coloring this in. Now if you wanted to, you could stamp it on white and then color it in with either the aqua painter and ink or the Stampin' Blends, or the colored pencils. That's the other thing I'm trying to think of. Any way you wanted to do that, just to give it a little bit of an accent, I'm going to put a little bit of real red in the wheel well because I think those would be shaded. So I'm going to make them a little bit darker. Then for the bumper, I wanted that to be chrome. So I'm using a silver gel pen. And I'll put the links to this in the video when I'm done here, and it'll also be on the blog post for where you can get one of these. Most stores carry them. I've had several different brands. I tend to like this Uniball Gel Impact. It doesn't dry out on me, and it always flows very easily. It's definitely been my gel pen of choice for white, silver, or gold. So there's our little truck with the window, which is acetate, and then the chrome is done in the gel pen. This is a gold Wink of Stella. If you have one of these from when we used to sell them, I just put that on the front because I thought it was kind of cute. It looked like headlights. Give it a little bit of a sparkle and shine so it looks like it's got headlights on. You could also use the clear one. I guess that would be like clear lenses if the lights weren't on. So again, then I'm coming back to my card, moving it around until I find the click of the other magnet, and then pulling it across. And so there's our finished card. All you would have to do now is put a sentiment on the inside, and you're good to go. I tend to do that with an extra tree or something. Like I want something that will match the outside of the card on the inside. So let's just take the tree. There's Today Belongs to You, Ride with the Windows Open, Happy Harvest, I'm Always Here to Pick You Up, I Love Stampin', Happy Birthday. So there's quite a variety of sentiments, and we've already used Wishing You Loads of Christmas Cheer, so I think I'm going to leave my inside blank. You could use another stamp set with any form of a Merry Christmas. I mean, actually this one has Thinking of You This Season. That would be very appropriate on the inside. And again, it doesn't matter that I've got notes on the back of this one because I'm going to cover it up when I glue it to the inside. And there we have our little truck moving card. Now this one I used Crystal Effects. It's the Sparkle Silver Crystal Effects, and they're shiny. They've got a little, they're clear, so they shine, but then they've got a little bit of glitter in it as well. That's something that's in our holiday catalog while supplies last. It comes in a little tube, and they made it kind of smaller, I think, on purpose so it doesn't dry out because we wouldn't want this to harden in the tube. But I've had this open for a while. It's done very well. And then there's also the option of using the Snowfall Accents puff paint. So we could add some snow by just using some of this. I'm going to put a little bit on the edge of the branches. And I'm not going to go everywhere with it. I know snow would fall everywhere, but I think I might go back in with the white marker and do some two-dimensional snow as well as this three-dimensional snow so that it's not like too much. But after you get that on, then you would bring in your heat tool. There. So now you can see the puff paint went kind of three-dimensional as well. So it really does look like snow. Thanks for joining me, and I will see you next Monday for Facebook Live. Thanks. Bye.